Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member, and thanks for holding the hearing and inviting us here today to share our thoughts. I'm here supporting the partnership between the military and law enforcement, having been Air Force and law enforcement for 33 years. Specifically, I'm here to request that no funds be used in the fiscal year 2017 Department of Defense appropriations legislation to fulfill Executive Order 13688, which is in regard to the 1033 program, the sale or donation of excess property from the Department of Defense to state and local law enforcement. Otherwise known as 1033, as I said, is essential to keeping our communities safe. On January 16, 2015, President Obama issued Executive Order 13688, which created a prohibited list of items to be transferred under 1033 program. This list includes armored track vehicles, 50 caliber firearms, ammunition, bayonets, camouflage, and other items. So I'm going to just take a moment here to speak from my own experience, 33 years with the Sheriff's Office, and we've had occasions to use this equipment. Helicopters, OH-58s, Hueys, which are helicopters that are Vietnam-era vintage. We've been able to acquire those helicopters sometimes and put together to make at least one helicopter fly. We've saved lives with those helicopters. Especially the Hueys and search and rescue missions. The OH-58s are used for surveillance. It's still used today for surveillance and other tasks connected with our SWAT team maneuvers and missions. I'll just give you a quick story. You know about San Bernardino, but in the Sheriff's Office, when I was the sheriff in the late 90s, we had a situation where a man killed his wife, killed his nephew, drove south on the freeway, ran over a motorcyclist, nearly killed him, jumped a fence, beat an 80-year-old woman over the head, broke her neck, ran next door, did the same thing to another senior citizen, killed her, broke into a house, and started shooting the neighborhood. Our first responding officer was shot. Bullet went through the windshield, trajectory, flattened the bullet out, hit her in the forehead, went into the headliner of the car, knocked her out, but we thought she was dead. I had 5 officers pinned down, three police cars riddled with bullets. He just happened to find a house that was full of ammunition and guns. So we thought we had a dead officer or a seriously wounded officer laying in the front seat of this police car in front of this house. We used one of those armored vehicles, Mr. Chairman, to rescue that officer. She is alive and working today in the King County Sheriff's Office. Our SWAT team is moved in this vehicle. I was the SWAT commander for 3 years. I used that vehicle in SWAT missions, and it gave us cover and protection. Police departments can't afford this material, can't afford this equipment on their own. There is a very regimented application process for police officers and sheriff's departments across the country to go through in acquiring this equipment. It has to be demilitarized before we use it. And if other requirements are needed, for example, maybe we don't paint them the Army green. Maybe we paint them a dark. They were too militaristic, so we put them in the trunks, and we avoided that problem. There's a lot of things that we can do to make this work, but the last thing, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, the last thing we want to do is to take this equipment away from law enforcement, especially in today's world where terrorism is a threat throughout this country, and we're asking local law enforcement to do more and more and more as it relates to Homeland Security. So I would ask, again, that you please don't provide any funding for the implementation of the President's Executive Order 13688.
Well, thank you for being here, for your service in the Air Force, and obviously your perspective as a longtime sheriff. I very close to a number of sheriffs in my area, and they are very happy to have had the equipment they've been given. They use it responsibly, and I must say I agree with your position, and hopefully that will prevail.